are live. Hello and welcome everyone to the Warhammer Meta Chasers. This is your weekly tournament rundown show where we go over the biggest and best tournaments happening all over the world for Warhammer 40,000. Some other little cool tidbits sprinkled in there. My name is Paul. I'm joined by Dustin Henshaw.
Hello, everybody.
And Adam Camilleri.
G'day, everybody.
Welcome. As I mentioned, we do this show live. We have a great chat group. Good to see y'all. Sorry we're a couple minutes behind. Of course, if you're listening to us on the podcast aggregators, you didn't know we were a few minutes
Everything's
late.
fine.
But I like to, we call it right down the middle. The truth is the truth. We normally kick this off around 9 p.m. Eastern time each and every Thursday. We have 3 great events to run down for you this week. We got Fal-Con, put on by a great friend of the show, Terracons, and then, the German Super Major.
The German Super Major.
Bless them. No one leans into their own memes like the Germans do.
Super
Bless
practical, and we appreciate it. Look, it's truth in advertising. It's right there on the tin. What does it do? It does that. But the first one we'll be talking about is the Fal-Con 2024 in Moncton.
Yeah, it's called Moncton, but that's not how it's spelled.
No, it's not.
Well, it's a 64-player 5-round event up there in the Great White North. Isn't it? It's not like super north, is it?
No, it's like halfway.
Yeah, it's in the middle there, right?
Yeah, it's in the middle of Canada. But actually, you know what? Yeah. It's very close to the just middle of Canada.
Yeah.
This is where we should explain how globes work. How Greenland is not actually this big on the globe. Oh, well, that's a different podcast. 64 players, like I mentioned, 5-round event. What are we going to see there?
In the Imperial Superfaction, we're going to be seeing 3 Sisters of Battle, 3 Custodes, 1 Admech, 5 Astra Militarum, 1 Grey Knight, and 2 Imperial Knights, Space Marines and Adeptus Astartes, 1 Space Wolf, 2 Blood Angels, and 1 Death Watch. Chaos, there's 2 Chaos Space Marines, 6 T-Suns, 5 Death Guard, 3 World Leaders, 1 Demon, and 3 Chaos Knights. Xenos, there's 8 Necrons, 3 Orcs, 2 Tau, 1 Votan. Hive Mind, there's 6 Tyranids. And then Eldari, there's 1 Drukhari, and 3 Eldari, meaning the faction podium is Necrons, topping it off with 8. No real surprise, but in second, we have Tyranids tied with Thousand Suns with 6, and then Astra Militarum close behind them with 5. That is an interesting podium.
It is a very interesting spread in totality also. Really low on the Space Marine numbers. 5 total Space Marines or Adeptus Astartes players from that codex out of 64 is a way unders. Usually we'd almost expect 10% or more of Space Marines in attendance. Really good. Still seeing very healthy numbers of Custodes, which is nice for their faction, seeing as the popular opinion is that it is not in a good place, but still having relatively healthy numbers, which we're happy to see. Astra Militarum and Tyranids making the podium is actually not going to be a surprise for this week's events, and but still, I would also like to shout out, there is a gentleman attending this event whose name in BCP is Chad Silver. What faction do we think he is playing?
If he's not playing Necrons, it's not his name.
Correct. He's doing it right. He's playing Necrons. Chad Silver. Hilarious. Thank you.
I like what you said there about a faction that is historically, actually in a recent, maybe not doing as well. And what we see sometimes is that previous build was not doing as well because of some changes in there. So maybe some generals are finding different ways to look into those data slates and see what they can take and put into a tournament.
Yeah, throw it against the wall. If your faction's doesn't have a clear, this is what is best, give it all a go. Why not? You got time. Give it a crack. I would like to say, to my chagrin, I have messed up. Death Guard are also on the podium with 5.
Tied with Astra Militarum as well. Ooh.
Tied with Astra Militarum, yeah. So 5 faction podium.
It's not Europe, so we weren't expecting it. It's fine.
That's right. T-Suns and Death Guard on the podium. Is this Europe? I don't know. I mean, it's not close to Quebec, is it? So
no, it's not. No, definitely not.
Close enough for us.
Sure.
It is indeed. But the player in attendance I decided to pull out is Jonathan Betteridge, who I believe is a listed player for Team Canada at the WTC. This is Blood Angels, Sons of Sanguinius. So, Paul, feel free to take it away, mate.
Oh, Sons of Sanguinius. Lee Marty's absolutely great. The Sanguiner I love that captain with a jump pack, 2 sanguinary priests with jump packs, 10 5/5 assault intercessors with jump packs. That is double the assault intercessors we've seen in most lists leading up to this. 2x5 walking death company, which is kind of interesting. 10 death company with jump packs. You have to assume that they're probably fist and
every single one is fist and inferno pistol. Every single one, all 20. Yeah,
that's what. Oh, okay, good. That's probably what I imagine. 2x5 scouts, 10 Vanguard veterans. Has to be a points choice there, and then you got a Ran Raider Redeemer going for the alliteration.
He did it. He did it. I love it. I set you up, buddy, and you did it. I am proud of you.
Look, I love good alliteration. I was not going to let that.
The triple R. Brick of the Imperium, the triple R, the Rand Raider.
But I like this. This has a couple of different layers. Like you've got that, obviously that big push, and then you've got that second push that can have there, and you've got the board control with the scouts, and then the Sanguiner is just that. I mean, points well spent with the Sanguiner's ability to swoop in and join any combat that is favorable to you, or to make it favorable to you. Love that.
Yeah, I like this,
Redeemer, everything piling in the Redeemer too, so it has the capacity to hold everything that is not.
You got to assume it's the 2 walking death company units in the Redeemer, possibly even some scouts to be shot out turn 1 to get a little bit of extra distance if that's what you need in the mission. The captain with jump pack obviously is almost certainly going with the Vanguard veterans, and then 1 sanguinary priest with the death company, 1 sanguinary priest with the Vanguard veterans, and the Lamaites goes with the 10 jump pack death company as well. So but the weird one is, does anything? Oh, sorry, no. Apologies. One of the sanguinary priests. Something's got to go with the 10 assault intercessors, right? Because it's actually a power unit, especially into like the green tides, the unending swarms, and the hordes. That's actually a real power unit.
Yeah, the captain.
Well, that'd be captain with the jump pack.
Yeah.
For sure. So then it's just a sang priest that goes with the Vanguard veterans. I suppose that's a beautiful thing about what Jonathan's built here, is he really gets the power to pick and choose where he puts his characters depending on the matchup.
I like the sanguinary priest with the Vanguards because it gives them that extra durability too, right? Because they actually get a 5 invulnerable pain as well as their 4-up invul now, which I'm assuming they had there.
Yeah, correct. And what I love about the Vanguard veterans in this is because a lot of people will look at their data sheet and be like, well, it's just a bunch of power weapon attacks. But then the +2 strength on the charge baby really lets them punch up.
Yeah, that's Sanguinius special ability there for the detachment, is that extra little punch on the go.
Like if you play against like Canoptic Court and stuff like that, you can just have your 10 Vanguard veterans and your 10 assault intercessors each shredding a unit of race in a single turn, which is not, especially if the assault intercessors decide they want to pop a grenades on the way in, and then they do their jump pack mortals, might kill 1.5 race.
Yes, so don't forget the hammer wrath. So you've got 2 opportunities to you probably take out 2 wraiths just before you've even rolled a real die in combat.
That's living on Dream Street.
That is definitely a Dream Street. There,
I mean, that's what you want.
That's what you want.
That's Sanguinius speaking through you. Look, the play is you're going to kill 2, baby. Let's go.
This is how it works out. So they're going to make all their saves in combat, but you're going to do all those mortal wounds ahead of time. So
I see.
You're both going to be living your best life.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
So you see it on both sides. Okay, I like it.
So we're getting to the stage where the Sanguinius lists are actually, and even in the fluff, they're looking like a bit of a mirror of some World Eaters lists that we ever see.
Tony, we were getting along so well.
the aggression, the aggression, the MSU feel, the fact that everything punches up, everything is deadly, especially with a couple of pieces of strat support. I think it's an exceptionally good list. I think Jonathan's going to do really well.
Good luck to him. Of course, want to see the Sons of Sanguinius do as well as they can.
I have already put Blood Angels in for you, Paul.
Thanks. I'll take it.
Dustin, what would you like? So for those who do not know, we have this whole second part of the show where, and then at the end of every event that we cover, we pick who we think is going to win. And then in part 2 of the show, should you wish to join us over on Patreon, Warhammer Meta Chasers, you'll see all the links and stuff on screen if you're watching us, live. You can go and get that second part where we usually meme on each other quite heavily for picking or not picking who wins and who's getting the points. And we get points delineated by how well we pick who's going to be placing well at these set events. Dustin, what would you like here, mate?
I'm going to take T-Sons.
Ooh, not a bad pick. Not a bad pick at all. Yeah, there's so many Necrons. Well. There's so many Necrons, and I need points, baby. So Necrons
you had Chad Silver there, so I mean you can't lose.
Well, do I get an extra point if Chad Silver wins?
Yes, you
We'll
do.
give it to you.
We'll give it to you. You get an extra
Only
point
if he comes first.
Only if he
Only
comes first. If Chad Silver wins this event, you get 4 points instead of 3.
Because he's not Chad unless
exactly. If he wins, he is the absolute Chad Silver, and you will get that extra point.
So good. I hope he's got like some like He-Man holding up the sword, painted silver as his Silent King on the throne, just for Chad Silver. But never mind.
Wait, does he have a Silent King in his list?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
You can just have it sit next to him.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's right.
Falcon is one of those events where I think we can absolutely endorse and say, check them out and put it on your list if you're in the area to go and participate in. Run by a person who's been, kind of behind and in the scenes of the Warhammer tournament meta for a long time.
Very long time.
Great champion of that side of things. So,
and Joe's there too, so you can watch him.
Yeah. It is not a stretch of the imagination to say that we would not be doing this show if guys like Peter didn't start doing all the stats and all the things and building the audience essentially.
Pioneer.
So shows like this could fly.
Yep.
Fly like a falcon.
That's
You got it. You did it.
I was pointing it out for everybody that missed it. Just make sure.
the next event we're going to be covering is Terracon for Naracoorte, South Australia. That could be Naracoorte, Couturi.
From the north down south.
Yeah. So let me know how does it pronounce.
Naracoorte.
Was that? I said that. I did it right. But there's
you did it right first time.
Too many vowels in there.
Yeah.
I almost added too many vowels to vowels.
That's not how it's spelt either. This is a week of wrong spelled places. That's what I'm seeing. Moncton, Naracoorte. That's not okay. Whatever, world. Whatever.
We'll get as close as we can. It is in South Australia. Just what a booming scene as well. 109 players for a 6-round event. What is going to be in attendance?
So in the Imperial Superfaction, there are 4 Sisters of Battle, 4 Custodes, 1 Admech, 7 Astra Militarum, 2 Grey Knights, and 5 Imperial Knights. Space Marines, there's 9 Adeptus Astartes, 2 Dark Angels, 4 Space Wolves, 1 Blood Angel, and 3 Black Templar. Chaos, there's 10 Chaos Space Marines, 4 T-Suns, 3 Death Guard, 4 World Leaders, 4 Demons, and 3 Chaos Knights. Xenos, there's 6 Necrons, 9 Orcs, 8 Tau, 4 Votan. Hive Mind, there's 4 Tyranids, and there's our Gene Cult player there as well. Eldari, there's 1 Drukhari and 5 Eldari, meaning the faction podium is CSM, topping it off with 10. Astartes and Orcs close behind them with 9, and then Tau in third with 8. Now this, to me, represents what I believe to be the top of the meta. The Astartes being up there is a little surprising, but it's fine.
But that's a wide net, though.
It's a wide net,
yeah. A lot of people just have Marines and bring them in. And Marines are good, by the way, but that's like, it is a large chunk of the player base.
Exactly right. Like Marines are always just going to have strong numbers. But if you were to, remove Marines, that does look pretty dang good for a spread of the meta at the moment, especially going from 10, 9, 8.
Yeah.
There's no big cliff, as you'll see in the next event. But this is a beautiful one.
For sure.
I'm going to be in attendance to this one. I'm one of the 7 Astra Militarum players.
Oh, you're just one of the sheep for all those Astra Militarum players.
Yes, I am. One of the sheep of the Imperium. That's what the Hammer of the Emperor is also called.
Did you get your Scions painted?
I did. I might as well show one off on screen because they're right next to me. I literally just put them on their bases a couple of moments ago.
Looking good,
coming
man.
up chic. I need to get some warmth on the base. Like I need to get like some probably umber, brownish tufts on the base to kind of break it up because it's very cold. But apart from that, I'm just going to send it, baby. I've taken a Bane blade.
Which one?
Blade because the Bane blade,
the actual Bane blade. Whoa, I haven't seen the original in a long time.
I'm doing it. I'm sending it. But Naracoorte is one of these destination events in Australia. It's been running for literally, I think, well over a decade, maybe possibly into its second decade. It's been going for a very long time. And there's a big delineation between, there's a core of like probably about 20, maybe 25 absolute savages that go and are trying to win, and put their best foot forward and compete. Everyone else just kind of kicks back. We all camp on a showgrounds. Next to the event, you got big bonfires going and stuff like that. A lot of people just drive there with their families and just kick back. And so this is just such a stupendous event for whoever wants to come and give it a crack. So if you're at all Terracon curious, get on down there. And in addition, the list we're going to be looking at is not an Australian list. This is Finn Decker, the captain of Team New Zealand, who with a couple of other of his Kiwi brethren are making the leap over the ditch and coming to try and take some scalps at Terracon. So very good player, very good list. He's playing Chaos Space Marines, Renegade Raiders detachment. 2 Chaos Lords, 2x10 Cultists, 3x5 Legionaries, 2 Rhinos to tote it all around. 2x5 Chosen, so Chosen coming back into the list, and why wouldn't you? They got a little bit of points help there, and then they're still absolutely disgusting with Chaos Lords. A single Forge Fiend, 5 Havocs. I remember correctly, I believe these are last cannon Havocs, although I may have a quick check in a moment. 2 Venom Crawlers, and then 10-10-5 Warp Talons.
Shocking.
What's the matter, Finn? Couldn't find the other 5?
Nope.
What's going on?
Couldn't source them.
Pathetic. But gents, yeah, that is a very well-rounded all-comers, some people would say it looks like a Gladius. It looks like a Gladius detachment for Space Marines because it's quite similar.
Yep.
This one isn't the one that gets Oath of Moment. That's Veterans of the Long War. But a lot of they've done a really good job with the Chaos Space Marine detachments and making them be the dark reflections of a lot of Space Marine counterparts. And so this is a really good list. The Warp Talents are going to be absolutely impressive. It's got 5 very, very good trading units in the Legionaries and Chosen, depending on what the target is. And then Havocs for a bit of fire support, and the Venom Crawlers, of course, are actually just very well pointed and very good for what they provide. Those Havocs do, in fact, have las cannons. I was correct.
All right.
There's your anti-tank.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things it struggles with, right? It struggles with transports.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Those Havocs will pop them pretty reliably.
Correct. So the Forge Fiend and the Havocs transports. The Forge Fiend, of course, can pop up and kill baby knights, threaten bigger knights as well, depending if they've taken a couple of wounds already. So yeah, I really like this list. I think it's really well constructed. Finns are going to do very well. And thank you very much to the Kiwis for coming over for it. It's a long trip for them. I'm actually going to be carpooling with them. They're going to be driving past my place. I'm going to be jumping in. Do that with them.
Oh, that's
Very
why
nice.
You're featuring the list. Oh, okay, I get it.
Well, I was going to feature another lovely gentleman of mine who's a top player and has won the ITC in Australia before, but he listed his name as something not his name, and I couldn't put it on.
Of course.
Hey,
Of
look,
course
we
it's
do
Australian
what
to
we
do
have
that.
to do, and we pick out. Although this is a great list to pick, it looks like representative of what is one of the flavors of the Chaos Space Marine detachments. And as we've talked about, there are several detachments in that book that are what we would consider top end playable.
For sure.
Yes.
I believe. And so how generals approach that and featuring that over time, I think, is kind of like a case study here on the Meta Chasers.
Exactly right. And we never want to move our finger too far from what's doing the best in the meta. Of course, we're not going to be pulling out ad nauseum your canoptic cord after canoptic cord after canoptic. We'll get bored at some point. But it's still the release month for the Chaos Space Marine Codex, so we'll give it some time in the limelight. Especially when we had we showed off a Soulforge War Pack last week, Renegade Raiders this week. I'm hoping to see some spice and some Veterans of the Long War. What's the Forge one? The one with that's the Iron Warriors pseudo detachment. I can't remember what it's called. The Forge Breaker or something like that. Or I want to see the Infiltrators detachment, the Alpha Legion one. I'm really waiting for people to try and coalesce and get some of these harder builds together that take a bit more hobby lag on them, possibly, because ostensibly, apart from the Warp Talons, this is Finn's list from a couple of months ago. It's just kind of rejigged in that in the Venom Crawlers, and it's pretty similar to what we were playing pre-balanced starter slate.
KR in the chat is like, is that are y'all in the winter in Australia right now?
We are, yeah. So this is going to be relatively cold by Australian standards, and by that I mean it's probably going to be in the 40s, 50s of degrees Fahrenheit.
Celsius, Jesus, like melting.
Apparently it's going to be around around 15, probably around 13 to 17 degrees Celsius.
I cannot do that.
Sweating.
Yeah,
well, I can't do the math.
Sweating.
I was like, the temperature seems pretty good, but I couldn't do the math of Celsius to Fahrenheit. And whatever.
So I'm in the south. I'm at the bottom right in Melbourne, Australia. So apart from Tasmania, which is the island below me, I'm pretty much in one of the coldest portions of Australia, and it's still it's not that cold compared to some other places in the world that I've been. Yeah. So
now we get to the hard part of picking a faction that we think is going to top this podium out here in what seems to be a fairly diverse and also tough field.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's not fair if I pick first or second, because I'm going to this event and I know a lot of the players. So Paul, would you like to pick first again?
This is tough. I mean, I feel like I just got to go with the numbers here and go with Chaos Space Marines.
I think that is the correct choice. Dusty Boy, what would you like?
I'll take Orcs.
Yeah, it was tough not to
That
want
is
to go with
totally
orcs.
fair.
I feel like orcs are still kind of top of the heap outside of some
Yeah.
outliers that are not the top of the meta right now.
Right.
So, am I gonna go Astartes or am I gonna go Tau? Let's roll the dice, boys.
Really? You're not even
One,
going to
two,
call
what-
your own shot?
1, 2, 3. Yeah, let's go Astartes. 1, 2, 3 Astartes. All right. No, I'm not going to nepotism myself and put that.
It's okay. There's really we don't have.
You're allowed to.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. Refused.
We don't actually win anything.
It's
if
true.
We win. It's like there's no conflict.
Well, I'm not taking a super serious list. I'm taking a list because I want to have fun with it, and it tickles my nostalgia berries for Guard. But anyway, gents, one more event.
Yeah, the next event we talk about. Although before that, we would normally say, "Hey, this is where we are sponsored by somebody here." But in lieu of that, we'll say we're sponsoring ourselves. Please go check us out on Patreon. Patreon has a couple different rewards. I think every tier gets you into the Discord where we do some chatting every now and then. The second tier gets you access to our recap show where the aforementioned memeing on ourselves occurs, but we also look back at the events we covered during the show and talk about the list that won. We go down to the top 10s. We pull out typically a couple extra lists to review as well. It's a fun time. It's a short show. It's a little bit more content and also continuation of the thread that we start on this show. If you're so inclined, please check it out. Every tier is awesome, but the show takes a lot to put together, and that is one way to say what's up if you are capable of doing that. And the next event we're going to be talking about is the German Super Major. You're killing me this week. Braunschweig, Germany.
Well, that wasn't bad.
Chat, let me know if we got close. What does the translate say? 442 players in 5 rounds. That means they're going to be a ton of undefeated going into that last round.
I did cheekily like sit there for a little bit when I found out it was 440 plus players and only 5 rounds. I'm like, 220 as a round. So I don't. Please don't quote me on the math. 12 to 14 people could be undefeated at this event. Legitimately, 12 to 14 people. So we got to take that into account when we pick our winners, because essentially we're gonna have to pick the person who just clean freaking sweeps hundreds every game, because that's the person who's probably going to come
Just
first.
crushing people.
Yeah,
and even then, it's not a guarantee. Although look, the way I don't think we've dug into their scoring and how they will be crowning. Where they probably have different categories, and I would imagine, or it's just a slugfest, like a battle royal at the end of there's the 9th round.
Exactly right. Or they're just going to be like 20-0. They could even have the 20-0 system for WTC in effect. We actually don't know. I could probably take some time and look at it. I'm not gonna, but I could have.
Just want to make sure
it'll be even. It's the extra curve in how we do our predictions. I think
correct.
You're exactly right. That's to make it more exciting for us. But yeah, 442 players. What is it going to be? What do we think is going to top out that faction list?
Let's see. So the Imperial Super Faction, there are 11 Sisters of Battle, 13 Custodes, 5 Admech, 19 Astra Militarum, 18 Grey Knights, and 15 Imperial Knights. Space Marines, there's 12 Adeptus Astartes, 9 Dark Angels, 12 Space Wolves, 10 Blood Angels, 3 Death Watch, and 12 Black Templar. Chaos, there's 16 Chaos Space Marines, 10 T-Suns, 24 Death Guard, 23 World Leaders, 12 Demons, and 17 Chaos Knights. Xenos, you can pretty much tell this is where the meta is over in Germany. 42 Necrons, 40 Orcs, and then 22 Tau and 21 Votan still. Highbind, there's 25 Tyranids and 7 G-Sealer Cult. Wow, okay. And then the Eldari, there's 13 Drukhari and 22 Eldari, meaning the faction podium is Necrons topping off at 42, Orcs close behind them with 40, and then a massive cliff to Tyranids, 15 behind them with 25, and Death Guard 24, World Leaders 23. After that, it becomes a closer spread for the rest of them, but wow, what a cliff.
Yeah, as soon as you get past that cliff, the meta here is actually really nice.
Yeah,
like with really healthy numbers, with Votan and Tau as well, Eldari healthy numbers, and it's just that cliff is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Like double the Orcs and Necrons of most other factions in the game, if not a couple of factions put together, not even making the numbers of Orcs and or Necrons. And it's kind of no surprise. The surprise is Tyranids in third for me. The Tyranids being the top of the under. The top of the cliff.
Do you think that has something to do with what we've kind of seen play out of them being like the orc answer
That could definitely be the case. So they're not horrific into Canoptic Court, but Dustin could probably speak to that better. They get points versus Necrons, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely they can. They don't they're not going to 20-0 them or anything, but they can win that matchup for sure.
Yeah, exactly right. So they're playing into the fact that there's 2 winnable matchups at the top of the meta, which I think is quite exciting for them, and hopefully gives them a little bit more play. And the fact is that even when times are going bad, was one Bible is just going to be popping you off a couple of points every turn, and pretty happy days. I do think there are some versions of Orcs that are far worse for this thing. We're talking about Bully Boys and pretty much Canoptic Court exclusively for those lists. But the list I have pulled out is neither of those. It's actually Green Tide, but we'll get to it in a moment because there's more to unpack here. With events of this size, it's actually one of the few times where I like to highlight the super faction stats. I do them every week and talk about them very little. But as you can see, the delineation here, it goes Xenos. 23 more players in Xenos than Chaos, and then Chaos has more than 20 more players than the Imperium, and they've stepped down from there. So there's actually huge cliffs between Xenos, Chaos, Imperium, even in that top 3 if we were to rank the super factions. But yeah, this is a extremely huge and stacked event. I believe I looked at when pulling out and trying to analyze this meta, I pulled out about 6 of last year's German WTC players are in attendance here, in addition to just a myriad of super strong and lethal players from all over the European area, if not Greater Germany. And yeah, this is going to be really, really, really thick, really dangerous, really deadly. And there's a lot of differentiating here. There's a lot more Blood Angels as well from the players that were usually jumping around. Some people playing Space Marine, some playing all the stuff. But yeah, Blood Angels are seeing a little bit more tick up from the top Space Marine players in attendance, but still very healthy numbers for Templars and a very healthy number for Space Wolves as well. Space Wolves actually hanging tight there with the same numbers as Vanilla Astartes and Black Templars, which is quite
Space Wolves been on the rise. You see them in every event. Why is that though? It's like
it's virtually the same reasons as you pointed out for Tyranids, mate. The fact that they have decent play into the top stuff. The funny stuff is Space Wolves will do really well going first into the best armies in the game and just kind of fall on their face versus mediocre weird stuff in the middle of the pack. So it is kind of funny how that works. They go against T-Suns and go second, and the T-Suns player has a couple of Exalted Sorcerers and half move, and we're done here. You can never make it to me in time before I shred you. And it's a real bad day at the office.
Got some folks in chat saying the audio is a little funny, but looks like it works if you reload, if you refresh and then come back in. Hopefully that is just on y'all's side.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything on the back end here. Just try reloading YouTube, guys. It might be just going wonky for being on for a little while.
I mean, hopefully you did not hear any interruption on the podcast.
They won't.
The gentleman's list I decided to highlight here, and of course, for the same reasons we're highlighting a bit of Chaos Space Marines this month in extra, we're highlighting a bit of Orcs in extra, especially Orcs off the beaten path. So if people are assuming that Bully Boys is possibly the best version of Orcs for singles play, a lot of people are assuming the same for Renegade Raiders for Chaos Space Marines. So I've decided to pull out a Green Tide. So here it is. This is Grisha Gerwitz. He is playing a Green Tide. He did play for Team Germany last year at the WTC. They had a very strong run, and I do know this is a very strong player. He's got Snickrot, because why?
Every list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you, mate? You have to have a good freaking reason not to take Snickrot. 3 Pain Boys, 3 War Bosses. One has a Ferocious Show Off. 2 Weird Boys, one of which has Brutal but Cunning. 100 Boys, just bam, 100 Boys, 5x20. 10 Gretchen, 2 units of 5 Knobs, 3 units of 5 Storm Boys, and a truck. So we have seen this version of the list with some battle wagons in it, and Grisha has skewed that to have more boots on the ground even. And I believe I do like the addition of the Knobs here, because there are some things in the meta, especially in a singles meta, where you can get paired in that regular boys will not get you through. And so the Knobs become the little delivery package, almost like the flying company, to come in on a flank of, say, a problem unit, or in my opinion, it could be a concession to the mirror match as well. So I mean that the regular Knobs go in on the flank of a Bully Boys unit that's caught on a unit of boys, because of course Bully Boys do not kill regular boys very well, especially in
low amount of attacks. They basically just don't have they sure that their attacks are quality attacks, but there are only so many of them.
Exactly right. Whereas regular Knobs actually kind of smash Knobs and regular Knobs just as good as they get smashed. So it actually kind of works out pretty nicely. So I do like the addition of the regular Knobs. And of course, we got Gretchen, we got 3x5 Storm Boys.
How are those Knobs equipped?
I actually,
Because I think
still have.
that's kind of like where it could be a potential stumble. It's like you gear up for one thing and not the other. And I think the scenario you're describing is going to be pretty common, especially if you're trying to swing for the fences and playing at the top end.
So I know that they don't get to take the kill swords, right? So you assume they're all claw.
Their claws are big choppas, basically.
Yeah, slugger and claw all the way. Yeah,
That
slugger and claw. It does make sense. I don't mind the big choppers. I don't mind the big choppers, but they need a bit of character support with the big choppers. You want them to be able to get to another level, like have a war boss your pocket in there, so they can get through some tougher things. This list is terrifying. So, but what I want to see this versus Space Wolves. I want to see it so much. I want to see that 3-turn somebody's tabled matchup. I just think this is a lot of fun. The weird boys, of course, add the X factor with their spells and wonky abilities. The war bosses add reliability to the units, as in, like, you can go and crack a transport with your boys. You don't have to worry about your boys, winning on 6s and bouncing off a Sagittar, because they just, on the wild turn, they're still only strength 5. So yeah, I think this is a really good list. Everything's really obnoxiously durable with invulns and feel no pains and a couple of resurrections here and there. It feels like Necrons. That punch instead of shoot. It does. It feels like Necrons. Like they're resurrecting, they're jumping around, they're doing, we always saw, 20 Necron warriors at times would just get Veil of Darkness turn 1, line off your opponent, put him in jail, stuff like that. Definitely an option for this list. Operating off a 5-up invulnerable save as their modus operandi for durability, same as Necrons do with the Chronomancer. It's actually pretty funny, the comparisons that can be made.
Interesting. Yeah, I never looked at it that way before. I think it is an interesting comparison. And when you're, especially the way that you've just described it, if you have not fought it before, some of the things to watch out for, some of the things to ask your opponent about before that game starts.
Yeah, exactly right. And of course, I'm referring to 9th edition Necrons, where the a 60 Necron warriors was not unusual to see on top tables. So this is an extremely good list. Grisha's going to do phenomenally well with it, and it's just going to be interesting to see if he's picked the meta right. Because if the top of the meta is Canoptic Courts and Bully Boys, and he's the only one he's one of a couple that are wielding very powerful green tides at the top of the tables, he could really overwhelm a lot of these other lists.
It's hard to go wrong with those in any of those 3 orc factions, though. I think it's more of like you can be a little bit less perfect playing when you are playing Bully Boys because of that second claw turn. I think that the Green Tide and the Dread Mob require a little bit more precision. This is no slight on any of the orc Bully Boy players. I feel like you do things to limit variance, and taking an extra turn of durability helps you limit variance over the course of many round games. And so your decision making, you could have a what wouldn't it be cool if turn round.
And
you're afforded a little bit, in my opinion, a little bit less with the Green Tide and the Dread Mob, but they're both still packed full of gasoline and high quality.
Yeah, very high quality list. The only thing I worry about with this kind of list, and this is not a massive worry, is there are a lot of armies out there that are wielding good uses of precision. And I do wonder, because you're not going to get a great primary score versus this army. You know that they're going to lock off the table, and you're not going to be able to go and get like deploy teleport homers in the middle if you go second, or investigate signals and stuff like that. Is there an option to just be like, I'm taking assassination? It has so many characters. We've got 9 characters, and they have to be in. Yeah,
I mean, why not, right? Because, like you said, you're not gonna get a lot of other points otherwise, because you're gonna swarm the board. It's gonna be hard to get a lot of the secondaries you pull.
Correct.
And it's just
guaranteed.
But what do you take other than assassinate then?
Yeah, might as well just take. I don't know what you take with assassinate, but hey, it's something.
If there's
you have to wait for the mission. The mission will tell you. But anyway, that is our 3 events. Time to pick some winners for this absolute slobber knocker over in Germany.
Who's picking first on this one?
I might go first because I've gone last the other 2 times. And it's Orcs. Orcs.
Try to get those points.
Paul.
Ooh. This is so tough.
Keep in mind, boys, it's Europe.
Yeah. And then also the fact that
players are going to,
the number of the 5 rounds and 450 players.
We're trying to pick somebody who's going to get 500 points out of. We're actually trying. That's what we're actually trying to do. We're trying to guess who's going to get 500 points in this event.
So I'm going World Eaters.
Yeah, fair. I don't think there's a wrong pick. to be
No,
honest,
no.
in this one. With
Throw a dart.
Yeah. Dusty, what would you like?
I am going to take T-Suns for this one.
I was coin flipping between T-Suns and Orcs for it.
It was on my mental list as well. Yeah.
I know how good T-Suns players are over there, and it's they're terrifying. My only concession was I just have a feeling Orcs are more likely to get hundreds than T-Suns, but that's not based on anything. It's just a feeling, so I could definitely be wrong.
No, I think it's a good feeling. I got a feeling.
Gentlemen, is it time to get the Fuego going?
So this is the palate cleanser. Look, we made it through the crunchy bit. We've talked about every bit of tournaments happen. Not every bit. There's actually tournaments happening all over the world, maybe more than this. We've just picked out some of the biggest from around the world. And so, if you are interested in getting out and playing tournaments, see what's happening in your area. There's bound to be something close by, or at least within a drive, if it is something you feel so inclined to do. What we did, we crunched the numbers. We talked about the meta and the bleeding edge of things. Now it is time to have a little bit of a palate cleanser where we kick back and talk about something that has sometimes very little to do with Warhammer at all. We called this segment the Fuego Rapido. This is a segment where we give ourselves a series of topics and then a clock to run down those topics. Once that clock is stopped on each topic, we abandon it, never to return to it again, unless demanded or encouraged by our Patreon subscribers to revisit a topic. And last week, Dustin almost got to find out how tragic we are. That's
Yeah.
Got to uplift it now because now this theme is birthdays.
So
Birthdays.
I'm sure Dustin's probably not going to mention it, but it's his son's first birthday.
That's true. That's why birthdays are on my mind. It is his
Oh,
birthday.
there we go. Happy birthday. Oh, and got a comment in the chat. Should have called those World Eaters Templars. Yep. Yes, right.
Definitely should have.
Next time,
Erwin,
I will
stare
do
in the
that.
pot. Stare in the pot, Erwin. I love it.
Absolutely love it. So yeah, once this clock starts ticking down, we get we basically can fire off the hottest of takes. Until
Nothing but the
clock is
hottest.
Nothing
done.
but the hottest. All right. So first up, cake, cupcakes, or pie?
I don't know anybody that's pie for a birthday.
I've
I
yeah.
would.
See that? I knew Adam would.
I never have.
No, you've
I never have, but I would. If I had the option, I'd probably.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying
Yeah.
you turned it down.
You never heard
like
of like a birthday pie? I've seen birthday pies
where?
at birthdays, birthday parties.
Do they put the candles in the pie?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, they do.
It's not just a pie that's served. Okay. This is wild.
Yeah, like, that's why I was actually curious if there's more. Okay, if you guys don't see the pies, you cupcakes or cakes?
I think cupcakes are a superior choice.
Really? Okay.
I do.
I genuinely do. They're not as splendorific, but there is like no cleanup. Everyone gets the same size. There's no complaints, especially if you got little kids around. Like everyone gets the same thing.
You could have
I think
different
it's easy.
flavors. People could pick what
It's
they want.
easy. Yeah.
I actually agree with cupcakes, so we did too, just because all the reasons you're saying, like you can have different flavors. You don't need to complain about different sizes of slices. You don't have to worry about somebody. Oh, I wanted that letter. I wanted that Mario's head. You know?
Exactly.
Although carving out the especially when they're that young, they're the piece with their name on it. That's could be a thing.
What pie is a birthday pie? Like what is a birthday pie? Mate, I'm
The
curious.
ones that I've seen is normally cherry. I don't because it's red.
Cherry's good.
Because it's red. I assume.
Genuinely, I like pie more than cake. Pie of the three options we have here, I think pie is the superior choice.
Oh
to
yeah,
cake
pecan.
and cupcake.
Look, if somebody brings me a pecan pie for my birthday, like
Yeah,
we're buddies now.
yeah, we're mates. It's
Okay.
a bonding happens.
Yeah,
So you won't be upset about it, but it's just not what you would assume is going to be associated with your birthday.
yeah. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not associate those things in my
Okay.
head.
All right, that's fair. But
Fair.
pie is the preference, just not a birthday association. Okay.
Just not something I associate with birthdays.
I get
anyway,
it. Okay.
Fuego.
Next up, best birthday present you ever received.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can remember a couple good ones as a kid. I can't. I have to be semi lame and say that last year was the best birthday present I got because my son was born. So that's pretty much.
Wait, is it your birthday as well?
It's in a week. My wife said,
Okay.
this is your birthday present. Like, that's fair.
Did you go into labor, and then her water broke? She just walked up to you. Here's your birthday present. Water broke.
Yeah,
Great time.
she
That would have been so funny.
I did not.
That'd be so
I did not
good.
get you anything for your birthday. This is your birthday present.
This is it. This is all you get. A human being that I've been for 9 months. I think the thing that comes to mind first was when I got my first bike when I was, I think, 6 years old. It was freaking bright orange and red, had racing stripes, had flames on it. It was sick. When I think about the most joyous present I've ever got, I think that brought me the most joy was my first BMX when I was like 6 or 7 years old.
That's a good one.
It was legit. I drove it straight into the dam. So we were in a drought in my childhood. We were in like a phenomenal 20-year drought in Australia, and so I grew up on a little farm. We had empty dams that were still pretty muddy at the bottom, and so first thing I did, we used to treat that thing like a half pipe with our bikes.
Nice.
And just kind of track through the mud, and I got stuck pretty bad. It was fun. Yeah, good times.
Paul?
As far as and now especially as I get advanced in years, I just appreciate the time. Anytime I can get all my family together, especially since my oldest works overnight, we don't often get to share those crossover hours all together at the same time. That truly is the best time.
How sweet.
Nice. Wholesome.
Wholesome. Very wholesome. I like it. Good wholesome show, guys. Next up. Most memorable birthday celebration. I think for me, when I was, how old was I? Like 12 or 13? I had just 3 of my closest friends. I was only allowed to invite 3 of my closest friends, and I wasn't told why. Then I was taken to a Blue Jays game, baseball, for those of you who don't. So a baseball game, which was.
We were assuming hockey.
It wasn't hockey season. My birthday's in June, so. But otherwise, it would have been hockey. But yeah, they took me to the Jays game.
We thought it was always hockey season up there.
None of us would have known that if you didn't just say that. Yeah.
We went to a bowling alley, an arcade. It was an amazing day. That was great. I still remember every bit of that. Loved it.
Nice. My 30th birthday was a bit of a rough one. And it's memorable because it was rough and it was so lovely. But I just literally invited my family over and cooked them all dinner, and that's one of my favorite ones.
For your birthday,
I cooked them dinner for my birthday, and it's still it's my favorite one. I think my favorite celebration. It was just nice. I enjoyed it a lot. I was going through a rough time in my life, and that's just what I wanted to do for my birthday. I just wanted to be around family, and I wanted to not think about what was going on for me. So I just kept myself busy cooking stuff, and it was beautiful.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah,
one of the neatest ones in most recent memory, I mean, it's recent, the last 7-8 years or so, was throwing like a casino birthday party for the wife. Yeah, like a 40s themed. We brought in dealers. Yeah, craps and blackjack dealers, and it was just kind of a fun little theme event.
That's awesome. I like that idea. I might steal that. All right. Next up. Best place to take a kids for a birthday party.
I can tell you where not to go.
You know what? I will take the advice on that one too. Please.
Any place where there are other kids having their birthday parties.
So Chuck E. Cheese is not a thing, eh?
Right out.
Right out.
Let's just say they will not sponsor this show, I don't think.
What's the place called? Is it Freddy's?
Freddy's?
Yeah, take it to Freddy's.
What's Freddy's?
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
No, I'm a big purveyor of picnics and parks.
Yeah,
nice
I
park.
actually like an amusement park or a water park if your birthday's in like summer months.
Oh, I was just gonna say just find one with a good playground. Let them bring all their mates, and then you just sit there eating cheese and breads, and they just take care of themselves. It's great.
Some place where they can run, you don't have to necessarily be all over what they're doing, or some contained area where they can run about, mill about, and stay active. Like there's like a bowling alley / arcade place that does definitely have parties, but it seems to be like they space them out that I like around here. That is pretty cool to do every now and then.
Yeah, like actually, a lot of those places. There's a couple of them around here where arcades are actually few and far between now.
Oh yeah.
They don't exist anymore. There was one really good one. Well, at least used to be. I think it actually closed now. It was like an hour away from me that had all of the old games from like the 80s and 90s. They had every collection there, and you could just buy time, like an hour at a time, and you just play as much as you want in there. Which is probably why they're not in business anymore, because I can't imagine they'd make a lot of money from that. But it was amazing.
That does sound pretty good.
I'd like to take them to that, but I gotta find it.
There's a pinball arcade that we're gonna go to coming up pretty soon for.
Nice.
That'd be cool too.
The Mrs. birthday.
I gotta find one right here. Okay. And
It's gotten a bit of a resurgence.
I hope so, because I want my son to experience it too. So the last one, the Emperor makes a birthday wish. What is it?
Erebus died.
I mean,
I wish to unmake Erebus. He never existed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To get off this throne, like, can we bring Magnus back? Like,
Yeah.
I wish Magnus was here right now.
I wish you guys let Cypher in when he was nearby.
Huh.
Well, the speculation is the Cypher had the lion sword with him and was going to shank the Emperor in order to rebirth him. Yeah, in order to let him.
That was a big thing people thought for the longest time.
He got to the door and he's like, "Well, Cypher, you just can't go." And he's like, "Okay, cool, I guess I'll leave." And then I went.
That's exactly how it freaking went. I was very frustrating. Yeah. It's a whole Cypher novel about him escaping from that point, and like you were there, man. You went through this ridiculous amount of effort to get here, and then you're like, "Oh, fair enough, Robert. I'm out. So,
all right,
cool.
Okay,
I'll just bounce.
I'll leave.
You're good.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
sorry, everybody. Sorry, my bad.
A good take by Erwin here. I wish I had a name Sanguinius Warmaster. That's a good one.
That's a good one, actually. I like that one. Okay.
Right. So let's just say he can't unmake anything. Like, he can't change the past. What does he wish for in the present of the 41st millennium?
Yeah, that was a lot of changing the past stuff. Okay.
Yeah, they completely rewrite the story, and he wouldn't end up on the throne. And
there's a lot of theory though, like about the Emperor being alive, like against his will, not because he necessarily wanted, but it was like part of the plan to eventually expire and then recycle and come back as something else.
Yeah, exactly right. To become the figurehead and then like disseminate any of that godhood nonsense by just disappearing, by just popping off and letting people and humans go on with what he'd built, being disconnected from chaos and all those things, and no longer having a need for something like the Emperor. Of course, there's noted in the chat the Star Child arc that kind of has gone nowhere now. But I always thought that was a cool thing. Like that was it. Like the before the Emperor bounced, he was like, I'm gonna make all the Astartes kill each other and make them obsolete like I did the Thunder Warriors, and then I'm just gonna fade that into the background. You guys don't need me anymore. I'm out. I'm gonna go hang out in the Black Library with High Five and Kegarak and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's our show this week.
That's it.
Yep, we have talked about all manner of topics, which is what we often do here. Cram a lot into this hour, and it's been a pleasure having y'all join us here live in the chat. Pleasure if y'all have made it this far on the aggregators. Please do that thing where you like, share, subscribe, and leave a 5-star review. That is something that means a whole lot to us. That is a hassle-free way that you can interact with the show that does trick the algorithms into maybe convincing other folks to come here and hang out with us until the end of the show. So I really would appreciate it if y'all could do that. I know it means a lot to everybody on this broadcast.
Always does. Always love to have you guys.
Always appreciate all of you. Thanks for hanging out with us.
We will see y'all next week, everybody. Thank y'all.
See ya.
Bye.